Ladies and gentlemen, you know that feeling right before you fall asleep, when the day's noise finally stops and all that's left is your own mind. That quiet space between being awake and being asleep. It's the most important moment of your entire day, and most of us are wasting it. We just close our eyes and hope for the best, only to wake up feeling just as tired and anxious as when we went to bed. What if I told you there's a simple practice, something that takes less than 2 minutes that can completely change how you sleep, how you feel, and even how you face the next day? And no, it's not some complex meditation or a fancy app. It's something far more powerful. I want to talk about what happens in those last few moments before sleep. Your brain, whether you realize it or not, is incredibly open. It's taking in everything from the day and getting ready to process it all night long. If the last thing you feed it is stress or worry, or scrolling through bad news on your phone, that's what it's going to work on all night. It's like giving a chef rotten ingredients and expecting a gourmet meal. It's just not going to happen. You'll wake up with a mind that's already cluttered, already tired, already behind. But if you can learn to use those last 60 seconds consciously, you can set the stage for not just a night of deep, peaceful sleep, but for a tomorrow that feels lighter and more manageable. This isn't about religion. This is about using an ancient understanding of the mind to protect your peace and create a foundation of calm. So let's break down exactly how to do this. The last thought you think about it for a sec. Really think what is the very last thing you do before you let sleep take over. For so many people, it's this automatic, almost robotic motion. The hand reaches out in the dark, the screen lights up, and suddenly you're not in your quiet room anymore. You're plunged back into the world. You're checking an email one last time, as if the fate of the universe depends on you seeing it at 11:37 p.m. You're scrolling through a feed, seeing highlights of other people's lives, news of problems you can't solve, images that stir up envy or anxiety. Or maybe you're watching a video, something fast-paced and loud, filling your mind with noise right up to the very last second. You have to understand what this is. This isn't just a bad habit. This is like taking a cup of pure undiluted chaos and anxiety and pouring it directly into your mind right at the moment it is most open, most vulnerable, most ready to receive instruction. Your brain is preparing for its most important work, processing the day, repairing the body, restoring the spirit, and you're giving it garbage to work with. You're giving a master chef rotten ingredients and expecting a gourmet meal. It will never ever happen. The other common path is just lying there in the silence, and that silence becomes a vacuum that your mind feels compelled to fill. And what does it fill it with? Not peace, not calm. It goes straight for the jowl. It replays that awkward thing you said 5 years ago. It amplifies a small comment from a coworker into a huge drama. It starts listing every single bill, every responsibility, every problem that you don't have an immediate answer for. It's like a record player gets stuck on a terrible song and it just loops and loops and loops, each time getting a little louder, a little more persistent until your heart is racing and you're feeling more awake and stressed than you did all day. This is the absolute opposite of what you need. It's a betrayal of your own peace. Your mind in this state is like a child. It doesn't need to be left alone with its fears. It needs guidance. It needs a clear, firm, loving signal from you. It needs to hear that the day is over, the work is done, the shop is closed, the tools are down. There's nothing more that can be accomplished by worrying about it It needs to be told in no uncertain terms that it is safe to rest, that the doors are locked, the guards are posted, and for the next several hours, the only job is recovery. Without that signal, the mind just assumes the work continues. It assumes that because you are still actively thinking about these problems, they must still be active. So it grinds away, it churns. It tries to solve equations at midnight with a tired brain, and it always fails, leaving you exhausted by the effort. This is why that last thought is so critically important. It is not a small thing, it is everything. It is the filter through which your entire night will be processed. It is the lens that your subconscious will use to view everything. If the last thing you feed it is fear, your dreams will be tinted with fear. Your rest will be shallow because a part of you is still on guard. If the last thing you feed it is anxiety, your body will be flooded with cortisol as you sleep, undermining the very restoration you are seeking. You wake up tired because you literally ran a marathon in your mind all night long. But if you can understand this power, if you can see that you hold the key to this moment, everything changes. You realize you are not a passenger in this process, you are the director. You are the one who gets the call cut on the day's filming. You are the one who gets to say that's a wrap. The mind is waiting for your instruction. It is craving your leadership. It wants you to tell it what to do when you leave it on its own. It defaults to its oldest, most primal patterns, which are usually fear-based. It's your job to override that default setting to consciously choose the final input. This isn't about positive thinking in a fluffy way. This is about practical mental hygiene. It's about brushing the mental plaque of your teeth before bed so you don't get cavities in your soul. It's about cleaning the wounds of the day so they can heal properly overnight instead of getting infected with bitterness and stress. The recognition of this power is the first and most fundamental step before you can implement any practice. You must have the revelation that the moment before sleep is not a passive empty space. It is a fertile ground. It is a garden, and you get to choose what seeds you plant in it right before you leave it for the night. Will you plant weeds of worry and regret, or will you plant seeds of peace and release? The quality of your harvest tomorrow depends entirely on the choice you make in that moment tonight. This understanding is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without it, any technique is just words. With it, even a single thought can become a powerful tool for transformation. It all starts with taking ownership of that last quiet powerful moment between the day and the dream. It's not a wish, it's a release. There's a common misunderstanding that surrounds this idea. A mistake that keeps people stuck and prevents them from tapping into the real power available to them. People hear a word and they immediately attach all their old baggage to it. They hear prayer and they think it means getting on your knees and pleading with some distant external force. For favors, they think it's a transaction, a negotiation. If I am good, if I say the right words, then please give me this thing I want. Make tomorrow easier. Make that person be nicer. Make my bank account fuller. This approach comes from a place of lack, from a feeling of being small and powerless in a big scary world. And because it comes from that place, it can never truly bring peace. It reinforces the very anxiety it's trying to overcome. It keeps you in a state of wanting, of waiting for external permission to be okay. What we are talking about here is something entirely different. This is not about asking for a better tomorrow. This is about closing the book on today. It is an internal act, not an external request. It is about the things you are carrying inside your own mind and your own body. The tension in your shoulders, the knot in your stomach, the relentless loop of thoughts in your head. This practice is about consciously and deliberately taking all of that accumulated weight and letting it go. It is an act of profound surrender, but not a surrender to an enemy, a surrender to truth. You are surrendering to the truth that this day is done. It is finished. The clock has ticked its last tick. The sun has set. What has been done, and you cannot go back and change a single moment of it. To lie in bed replaying it, arguing with it, wishing it were different is the definition of insanity. It is like trying to argue with a shadow. You cannot win. The only thing you accomplish is exhausting yourself. Holding on to the day through the night is an act of self-harm. It is choosing to continue carrying a burden long after you have the right to set it down. Imagine you've been hiking all day with a heavy backpack. It's dug into your shoulders. Your back aches. Your legs are tired. You finally arrive at your camp for the night. What is the very first thing you do? You take the pack off. You unstrap it and set it on the ground beside you. You would never ever consider crawling into your tent and trying to sleep with that heavy pack still strapped to your back. The very idea is absurd. It would be uncomfortable. It would prevent rest. It would cause you pain. And yet, this is exactly what you do with your mind every single night. You crawl into bed with the mental backpack still on. It's stuffed with every difficult conversation, every mistake, every worry, every ounce of stress from the last 16 hours. And you try to sleep with all of that still strapped. This practice is the simple physical act of unstrapping that mental backpack. You look at it, you acknowledge that it's heavy, you acknowledge that you carried it all day, and then with intention you take it off. You set it down on the floor beside your bed, it will still be there in the morning. If you need to pick it up again tomorrow, you can. But for now, for these precious hours of night, you are free from its weight. You are giving yourself permission to rest. This is the core of the release. It is a declaration of freedom from the past. You are saying to yourself, I release this day. I release all of its events. I release my attachment to how I wanted it to go. I release my anger over what happened. I release my disappointment. I release my need to control it anymore. It is over. I am setting it down. This is not condoning bad behavior or ignoring real problems. It is simply recognizing that the time for working on those problems is over. The time for rest has begun. By releasing the day, you are making a clear distinction between the two. You are drawing a boundary around your rest and protecting it from the invasion of the day's trouble. This act of release is an affirmation of your own power. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are not powerless against the churning of your mind. You are the one who decides what you will hold on to and what you will let go of. It is a muscle that you strengthen with practice. The first time you try it, it might feel like you're just saying words, but you must persist. You must speak the words until the feeling follows. You command your mind to let go and eventually it learns to obey. You are the master of your inner world and this is you giving a clear order, stand down. The battle is over for today. This release creates a vacuum and nature abhors a vacuum. When you forcefully eject the stress and the worry, you create an empty space and into that space peace can naturally flow. Calm can naturally enter. It is not something you have to fight for. It is what remains when you finally stop fighting. It is the default setting of your soul. When you clear away the debris of the day, this is why it is not a wish. You are not wishing for peace to come from somewhere else. You are actively creating the conditions for the peace that is already within you to reveal itself. And you are scraping off the mud to reveal the diamond that was always there. It is the most practical thing you can do. It is mental hygiene. It is spiritual cleanliness. It is setting your own inner house in order before you retire for the night. Ensuring that you sleep in a clean, tidy, peaceful home, not a cluttered, chaotic war zone. The three-part structure. The beauty of this entire practice lies in its simplicity. It doesn't demand hours of your time. It doesn't require you to learn complex mantras or assume uncomfortable positions. The most powerful tools are often the simplest because they are the ones you'll actually use. Especially when you are tired, worn down, and at the end of your rope, when your mind is foggy and your body is begging for sleep, you need something clear, direct, and easy to remember. This is not a complicated ritual. It is a simple three-step mental shift. It is a conscious movement of your inner world from a state of chaos to a state of order. Think of it as a sequence, a gentle closing ceremony for your day. The first part is about turning your gaze towards something good. It is the act of gratitude. Before you can effectively let go of the bad, you must first acknowledge that good exists. You must find one single thing, no matter how small it seems, and focus your attention on it. This isn't about pretending the bad things didn't happen. It is about asserting that they were not the only things that happened. It is a deliberate act of shifting your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what went wrong to what in some small way went wrong. This initial step is crucial because it begins to change the chemistry of your thinking. It moves you from a mindset of lack and scarcity to one of abundance and appreciation. It tells your subconscious mind, which is listening so intently at this time, that the world is not entirely a hostile place, that there are points of light and you have the power to find them. Immediately following this shift, you move to the second part, which is release. This is the active work of letting go. Having anchored yourself with a moment of goodness, you now have the stability to look at the weight you've been carrying and consciously decide to set it down. You speak to your own mind with authority and clarity. You declare that the day is over. Its account is closed. All transactions are finished. What was done is done. What was left undone will have to wait for a new day with new energy. This is where you offer forgiveness to yourself for your stumbles and shortcomings and to others for theirs. You are not condoning hurtful actions. You are simply refusing to continue carrying the poison of resentment within your own soul through the night. You are choosing your own peace over the prolonged engagement with a battle that is already over. You are unclenching your mental fist and allowing the sand of the day to simply fall through your fingers. This act of release is a proclamation of freedom. You are announcing to every cell in your body that the work is done, the shift is over, and it is now safe to power. Then you move into the third and final part, which is protection. This is not a prayer of fear where you beg to be saved from nightmares or bad things. That kind of prayer only reinforces the idea that you are vulnerable and under threat. Instead, this is a prayer of power and intention. It is a confident declaration of the environment you wish to create for your rest. You are not asking for peace to come from somewhere else. You are commanding the peace that is within you to rise up and establish its dominion over your mind and heart for the duration of the night. You are drawing a circle of light around yourself, not to keep darkness out, but to affirm the brilliance of the light that is already within you. You are stating with absolute certainty that your rest will be deep, that your dreams will be sweet, and that your being will be restored. You are programming your subconscious with the instruction to maintain this state of grace and safety until morning. This three-part structure, gratitude, release, protection, is a complete cycle. It allows you to honor the day that has passed, free yourself from its burdens, and consciously design the conditions for your restoration. It takes less than a minute, but its impact resonates through the entire night. It is a simple formula for reclaiming your power at a time when you feel most vulnerable. It is the ultimate act of self-governance, a way of telling yourself that no matter what the day brought, you end it on your own terms. You are not a passive recipient of whatever thoughts drift into your head. You are the active architect of your final waking moments. This structure provides a framework so you don't have to figure it out anew each night. In your exhaustion, you can simply lean into this proven sequence, this reliable path that always leads you home to yourself, to a place of quiet and calm. It is the gentle, firm hand that guides you across the bridge from the noise of the day to the silence of the night, gratitude the anchor. Now, let's dwell for a moment on that very first step because it is the foundation upon which everything else is built. It is the anchor. The concept of gratitude can sometimes feel like a cliché, something you're supposed to do because it's polite or spiritually correct. But when practiced correctly, especially in the vulnerable space right before sleep, it is one of the most transformative and powerful forces at your disposal. Its power is not diminished by the simplicity of the act. In fact, that is the source of its power. The instruction is to find one thing, just one. Not a list of 10 things, not a grand sweeping statement about your wonderful life. On a truly difficult day, that can feel like a lie, and your soul will reject it. The magic is in the specificity and the authenticity of that one small thing. It could be the way the warm water felt in the shower, the way your pet looked at you, the fact that you had a cool glass of water when you were thirsty, the taste of one bite of food that was particularly good. You must search for it, like a diver searching for a single pearl in the ocean. On a good day, the pearls are everywhere, easy to find. On a bad day, you might have to dive deep into the murky water. But I promise you, the pearl is always there. The act of searching for it is in itself the beginning of the healing. You are training your mind to scan for good. You are building a new neural pathway that automatically asks, where is the good? Instead of the old pathway that screams, look at all this bad stuff. This is not naive optimism. This is strategic mental training. It is the practice of strengthening your mind's ability to find resources and points of safety. No matter the environment, by doing this right before sleep, you are doing something profoundly intelligent. You are ending your day on a yes. You are giving your subconscious mind, which is about to work all night long, a positive data point to work with. You are essentially feeding it the highest quality fuel. If you feed it anxiety and regret, it will churn on anxiety and regret all night. If you feed it one genuine heartfelt moment of appreciation, it will begin to churn on that. It will start to organize your memories, your emotions, and your energy around that small point of light. Think of your mind as a vast dark sky at night. The worries and stresses are like dark clouds. The act of gratitude is you focusing your attention on the one star that is shining through the cloud cover. You focus on it so intently that your eyes adjust, and soon that one star becomes bright. It becomes a point of orientation. You are no longer lost in the formless dark. You have a fixed point to navigate by. That is your anchor. No matter how stormy the seas of your day were, no matter how much the ship of your mind was tossed around, this one small point of gratitude allows you to drop anchor and finally stop drifting. It holds you steady in the present moment and prevents you from being dragged back into the stormy past of the day you just lived. It grounds you in a simple, undeniable truth that even on the worst day, not everything was bad. There was a moment of relief, a moment of comfort, a moment of comfort, a moment of connect. However brief that moment is real, it happened. And by choosing to end your day by focusing on that moment, you are voting for what is real and good over what is painful and difficult. You are casting your vote for life. This practice done night after night begins to rewire your entire perception. You will find yourself during the day unconsciously noticing small good things and mentally tucking them away, knowing that they will be your anchor later. You begin to collect pearls throughout the day so that when night falls, you have a handful of them. This doesn't mean you ignore problems or pretend pain doesn't exist. It means you refuse to allow problems and pain to have the final word at the end of your day. You get the last say and you say thank you. Thank you for this bed. Thank you for this blanket. Thank you for that memory that made me smile. That is enough. That feeling of sincere thanks. However small its object is the anchor that holds you safe and steady through the night. Release. Dropping the rock. This is the moment of active choice. The point where you move from simply thinking to actually doing. The first part, gratitude, was about finding your footing, about locating a solid place to stand. The second part is about using that solid ground to finally put down the weight you've been carrying. It is the practice of it. And it is exactly that, a practice. It is not something that happens automatically. You must choose it. You must command it. Imagine as clearly as you can that you are holding a heavy, rough rock in your hand. Your arm is extended and the weight of it is pulling on your shoulder, straining your muscles, making your entire body feel tired and off balance. This rock is not part of you. It is something you picked up during the day and have not yet sat down. It is the rock of a harsh word someone said to you. It is the rock of a mistake you made. It is the rock of a worry about a future that hasn't happened yet. You have been holding this rock for hours and your body is screaming at you to let it go. But for some reason, you cling to it. That you think that by holding it, you are somehow solving the problem or honoring the difficulty. But you are not. You are only exhausting yourself. The act of release is the simple physical, mental, and spiritual decision to open your hand, to allow your fingers to uncurl, to let the rock fall to the ground. You watch it fall and you feel the immediate relief in your arm as the weight vanishes. The tension in your shoulder releases. Your body can finally stand straight again. This is not an act of denial. You are not pretending the rock never existed. You see it there on the ground. You acknowledge its weight and its reality, but you also acknowledge a greater truth. You do not have to hold it anymore. Your job in this moment is not to solve the problem that the rock represents. Your only job is to rest. So you consciously go through the events of the day and you identify the rocks you are still clutching. Did someone speak to you in anger? That is a rock. You open your hand and let it go. You release the need to replay the conversation, to craft a perfect comeback, to nurse the hurt feeling. You declare that the incident is over. Its energy stops here tonight. It will not be allowed to bleed into your peace. Did you fail to meet your own expectations? That is another rock, often a heavier one. You release the shame attached to that failure. You forgive yourself for being human, for stumbling, for not knowing everything. You acknowledge the lesson if there is one. And then you let the heavy weight of self-judgment fall away. You understand that punishing yourself all night long does not change the past. It only ruins the present moment of rest and weakens you for the future. Are you anxious about tomorrow that is a rock made of phantom material? Or wait from a future that does not yet exist? You release the need to control what hasn't happened. You affirm that tomorrow will have its own strength and its own solutions, and you will meet it when it arrives, not before. You say to yourself with clarity and authority, this is not mine to carry right now. My only task is to rest and restore. You are giving yourself official permission to clock out. You are hanging up the uniform of your daily struggles and closing the door until morning. You are placing a sign on the door of your mind that says close for business. No more processing, No more worrying, no more planning. The work is done. At first, this might feel like you are just saying words into the darkness. That's okay, you must persist. You speak the words of release until your mind begins to obey the command. You are the boss of your inner world and you are giving a direct order to stand down. The battle is over. The tension you hold in your body is the physical manifestation of you still holding those rocks. As you speak your release, feel your body respond. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, feel your jaw unclench. Feel your shoulders drop away from your ears. Feel the muscles in your stomach relax. The body and the mind are one. As you release the mental weight, the physical body must follow. And as you relax the physical body, the mind receives the signal that it is safe to let go. This is how you cross the bridge from the active day into the receptive night. You are not collapsing from exhaustion. You are consciously, deliberately, and powerfully choosing to lay down your burdens. You are choosing rest over struggle, peace over conflict, and self-care over self-punishment. You are dropping the rock protection, setting the boundary, having found your anchor in gratitude and released the weights of the day. You now find yourself in a clean open space. This space is neutral. It is quiet, and because it is quiet, it is receptive. This is the perfect time to consciously fill this space with your intention. This is the third part, protection. This word can sometimes conjure images of building walls, of defending against outside attacks, of a kind of fearful fortification. But that is not what this is. This is not about fear. This is about love. This is about consciously choosing what energy you allow to permeate your being during your most vulnerable hours. Think of it this way. All day long you have been out in the world. You have been in crowded places both physically and mentally. You have been absorbing energies, the stress of traffic, the anxiety of news, the emotional demands of other people, the pressure of your own soul. It's as if you've been walking through a dusty, windy environment and particles of that dust have settled on you. Protection in this sense is the act of brushing off that dust before you get into the clean sheets of your bed. You would not go to sleep covered in literal dirt. This is the same idea but for your spirit. You're cleaning your energy field. You are creating a clean, quiet, and safe space within yourself. You are not praying for the world outside to change. You are commanding the world within you to align with peace. This is a proclamation. It is you stating the law of your own being for the night. You are not begging for safety. You are affirming it. You are declaring the truth of your environment. You might say with quiet confidence, I am surrounded by peace. I am immersed in safety. My rest is deep and healing. My dreams are sweet and restorative. You are not asking for these things to happen. You are speaking them into existence within your own experience. You are setting the boundary of your reality for the next several hours. This is a psychological TR. Your subconscious mind in the state between wakefulness and sleep is incredibly receptive to suggestion. It accepts the instructions you give it as commands. If the last thing you feed it is the chaotic energy of the day, it will simmer on that chaos all night. If the last thing you impress upon it is a clear, calm, confident statement of peace and safety, it will accept that as its new operating instruction. It will direct your nervous system to power down, to relax completely, to activate the parasympathetic system that governs rest, digestion, and repair. It tells your body that the coast is clear, that the guards can stand down, that it is safe to go into the deep restorative phases of sleep without one ear always listening for danger. For anyone who experiences restless sleep, nightmares, or waking up with anxiety, this part of the practice is non-negotiable. You are actively reprogramming a deep-seated habit of vigilance. You are replacing a default setting of fear with a chosen setting of tranquility. You are drawing a circle of white light around your bed, not to keep darkness out, but to so fully illuminate your own space that nothing else can intrude. You are filling yourself with so much light that there is no room for shadow. This is the final act of taking full responsibility for your own state of being. You're not leaving your peace up to chance. You are not hoping you'll sleep well. You are intending it. You are designing it. You are using the authority of your own word to create the conditions for perfect rest. You end your day not as a victim of circumstance, but as the master of your inner world, consciously choosing the energy that will nourish and restore you through the night. You set the boundary and you rest within it, safe and sound. How it actually feels. Let's make this real. Let's move it from an idea into an experience, because that's where the true shift happens. It's one thing to understand the steps. It's another to feel them transform your state of being in real time. So imagine the day is finally over, the lights are off, the house is quiet. You're lying in your bed and the familiar tide of the day thoughts begins to wash in. This is the critical moment. Instead of letting that tide pull you out into a sea of anxiety, you take a single deep, deliberate breath. This breath is the signal. It is the first conscious act of the night. The moment you switch from passive to active, you bring to mind the first part. You don't just list something. You feel it. You think, today I am grateful for the warmth of this blanket. And you don't just say the words. You pause. You actually feel the softness against your skin. You lean into the sensation of warmth and comfort. You allow yourself a single genuine moment of appreciation for this small mercy. It doesn't have to be a big emotional wave. It's just a quiet, solid feeling of, yes, this is good. This feeling is the anchor. It grounds you firmly in the present in a moment of safety and comfort, and it immediately begins to loosen the grip of the day's struggles. Then, on your exhale, you move into the release. You speak to yourself not with force, but with a calm and final authority. You say, I release this day. I let go of the tension from that argument. I let go of the stress about that deadline. I let go of the need to figure it all out tonight. It is finished. And as you say these words, you command your body to obey. You feel your shoulders, which were hunched up near your ears, actually drop down. You consciously unclench your jaw, which you hadn't even realized was tight. You feel a sigh escape you, a physical release of pent-up air and energy. It's a palpable sensation of setting down a weight you've been carrying in your very muscles. You are not arguing with the events of the day. You are simply declaring that their time is over. The court is adjourned. The books are closed. Then from this new, lighter, cleaner space, you move into the final part. You turn your attention inward to the core of your own being. You don't beg or plead. You state your intention for the night with the confidence of someone who knows their word is law within their own domain. You say, a blanket of peace covers me now. My sleep is deep and healing. My dreams are gentle. I am safe and I am at peace. Or yeah, I am at... You feel these words not as a wish, but as a present reality. You feel an almost tangible sense of calm descending, like a gentle fog that muffles all the sharp edges of the word. It's a feeling of being wrapped up, protected, and utterly secure. The entire process from that first breath to the final declaration might take 60 seconds, but the shift in how you feel is monumental. It is the difference between being a passenger on a bus driven by your chaotic thoughts and being the driver yourself, constantly turning the wheel and guiding the vehicle toward a destination of your choosing. You are no longer a victim of whatever random worry pops into your head. You are the author, the director, the creator of your own inner environment. There is a profound sense of agency that comes from this, a feeling of self-respect. You are treating your own peace as a priority, not an afterthought. You are honoring your need for rest by actively creating the conditions for it rather than just collapsing and hoping for the best. The feeling is one of gentle power. It's not aggressive or forceful. It's a quiet, confident knowing that you have the ability to shape your experience. The anxiety that felt so large and overwhelming moments before now seems smaller, more distant, because you have placed a bigger, more powerful truth, your declaration of peace, right in front of it. You fall asleep not from sheer exhaustion, but from a conscious decision to enter into rest. The transition is smoother. The sleep that follows is of a different quality entirely. It feels earned, not stumbled into. And when you wake up, there's a residue of that feeling. You don't wake up with a jolt of anxiety. You wake up remembering that the last thing you knew before sleep was peace. And that memory sets a completely different tone for the morning. It's a practical, tangible, and deeply felt experience of taking control of your life one night at a time. This science of the subconscious, it's important to know that this isn't just a nice idea or a spiritual fantasy. There is a concrete physiological reason why this practice works with such power, and understanding this can remove any lingering doubt and allow you to engage with it fully. It all comes down to the state of your mind in those last moments before sleep. When you lie down in a dark, quiet room and close your eyes, your brain begins to change its operating rhythm. The fast, busy, bitter brain waves that dominate your waking hours. When your analyzing, calculating, and stressing begin to slow down, they transition into slower, smoother alpha waves. This is the state of relaxed wakefulness, the state you're in when you're daydreaming or just about to drift off. If you stay in this state, you may then slide into theta waves, which are even slower and are associated with deep meditation, hypnosis, and the very first stage of sleep. This window, this transition from beta to alpha to theta, is the most psychologically vulnerable and receptive state you experience in a normal day. Your critical, analytical, doubting mind, the part that argues and questions, is offline, is taking a rest. But your subconscious mind, the part that controls your autonomic nervous system, your emotions, your habits, and your deepest beliefs, is wide awake and incredibly impressionable. It is like a sponge absorbing everything without judgment. It accepts whatever you tell it as absolute truth. This is the state that hypnotherapists guide people into to make profound changes, because in this state suggestions bypass the critical filter and go straight to the core programming. Now consider what usually happens. Most people in this incredibly receptive state are feeding their subconscious a diet of anxiety. They're scrolling through news headlines, worrying about tomorrow, replaying arguments. They are in essence standing in front of this open, accepting powerful part of their own mind and giving it the command. More of this, please process this fear, integrate this stress, make this anxiety a core part of who I am. And the subconscious, ever obedient, says, yes sir, and gets to work churning on that material all night long, weaving it into the very fabric of your being. This practice flips that entire process on its. You are consciously and deliberately using this sacred window of receptivity for your own benefit. Instead of feeding your subconscious the garbage of the day, you are feeding it a carefully prepared meal of peace, gratitude, and safety. You are giving it a new set of commands. When you express gratitude, you are telling your subconscious the world is a place of good things. Focus here. When you release the day, you are commanding it. The work is done. Stand down. There is no threat. When you affirm protection and peace, you are programming it. Our reality is safety. Our state is calm. Your subconscious accepts these statements as literal instructions for how to manage your body, your emotions, and your energy through the night. It directs your nervous system to relax. It tells your adrenal glands to stop pumping cortisol. It allows your body to enter the deep restorative stages of sleep where real healing happens. This is gentle, positive nightly programming. You are quite literally rewiring your own brain over time. This doesn't just affect your sleep. The peace you program at night becomes your baseline during the day. The subconscious mind that was told all night that the world is safe and good begins to passively scan for evidence of that. During your waking hours, you start to feel calmer, less reactive, more resilient. Not because you're trying harder, but because you have changed the fundamental software that runs in the background. You are working with the science of your own mind, not against it. You are using your natural biology as a tool for transformation. This is the silent, powerful mechanism that makes a simple 60-second practice one of the most impactful things you can ever do for your life, making it your own. This is perhaps the most important thing to understand. What I am giving you is a framework, a map, but you must walk the path yourself, and you must do it in your own shoes. The words I use are my words. They come from my life, my experiences, my understanding. They are the vessel that carries the truth for me, but your vessel might look different, and that is not only okay, it is essential. The power of this practice does not live in the specific combination of syllables. It lives in the feeling, the intention, the authentic movement of your own. If you try to force yourself to use words that feel foreign or uncomfortable, you create a tiny resistance, a small lie that will undermine the entire process. The critical doubting mind, which is just waiting for a chance to interrupt, will latch onto that feeling of authenticity and whisper, see, this is silly you, so you must make it yours. You must find the language that speaks directly to your own heart without triggering your inner critic. Let's break down the three parts into the essential feeling, and then you can find the words that evoke that feeling for you. The first part is about shifting your focus from lack to presence. The feeling is acknowledgement, appreciation, and noticing of something that wasn't actively causing you pain. If the word gratitude feels too big or too forced on a particularly hard day, then don't use it. Scale it back, find a word that feels honest. You might say, I noticed the cool side of the pillow, or I remember the taste of that orange, or for a moment, the music sounded good. The goal is not to feel an overwhelming wave of thankfulness. The goal is to simply point your mind's attention towards something neutral or slightly pleasant. It is the mental equivalent of turning your face toward a patch of sun instead of staring into the shadow. The second part is about active surrender. The feeling is relief, the setting down of a burden. If the phrase I release feels too spiritual or vague, use language that is more practical, more physical. You are the CEO of your mind and you are giving the order to shut down operations for the night. You might say, I'm closing the files for today, or I'm clocking out from my worries, or I'm taking off the heavy coat I've been wearing all day. The words should evoke a sense of finality and conscious choice. You are not hoping to let go. You are declaring that you are letting go. You are firing the thoughts that are no longer serving you. The third part is about establishing your desires. The feeling is safety, security, and intentionality. If the word protection feels like you are expecting an attack, then change it. You are not building a fortress. Sir, you are cultivating a garden. You are stating the law of your own being for the night. You might say, my mind is quiet and still tonight, or my body knows how to rest deeply, or it chooses calm and easy dreams. The words should feel like a gentle command, a statement of fact about the reality you are choosing to experience. This is a personal conversation between you and the deepest part of yourself. It is the ultimate act of self-care because it is not about changing your body with a product or your appearance with an outfit. It is about changing the very quality of your consciousness, the heart of your experience. You are caring for yourself. You are speaking directly to the part of you that runs the show behind the scenes, and you are doing it with respect and authenticity. There is no one listening, no one to judge your word choice. The only thing that matters is the feeling of truth that the words evoke in you. Do they help you feel the shift? Do they help you feel the anchor drop? Do they help you feel the weight being set down? Do they help you feel the peace descend? If they do, then they are the right words. They could be 3 words for each part, or they could be 3 sentences. They could be the same every night, or they could change based on what the day dealt you. The structure is the guide rail, but the language is your vehicle. You are the only driver. This practice is your private sanctuary, and you get to design every aspect of it. The night I described with the rain on the window was my night. Your night might involve being grateful for the hum of the air conditioner, releasing the mental image of a spreadsheet, and intending to dream in color. It is all valid. It is all powerful because the power was never in my words. It was always in your willingness to speak your own. The compound effect of peace, a single night of good sleep is a gift. It feels wonderful. You wake up feeling human again, capable of facing the day. But the true life-altering magic is not in the one of good night. It is in the relentless, consistent daily application of this simple minute. It is in the compound effect of peace. Think about how a single drop of water means nothing. It evaporates instantly. But if you have a drip, drip, drip every single day in the same spot, it begins to wear away stone. It carves a new channel. It creates a canyon. Your mind is that stone. Your anxious, worried, default patterns are the well-worn canyons that your thoughts automatically flow down. They are deep and familiar. One night of consciously directing your thoughts toward peace is like a single drop of water trying to change the course of a river. It seems futile, but night after night after night, that consistent drip begins to work. It starts to wear a new groove. At first, it's just a tiny impression, barely noticeable, but you keep at it. You do it on the good nights when you're happy and it feels easy, and you do it on the terrible nights when you're crying into your pillow and the words feel like a lie. Especially on those nights, because that is when you are doing the real work. That is when you are taking a jackhammer to the old stone of your suffering. You are ending every single day without exception with a moment of order. You are drawing a line in the sand of time and declaring that no matter what chaos occurred between sunrise and sunset, the final word will be one of your own choosing. This consistency is what rebuilds your inner world from the ground. You are building a habit not just of a practice but of a perspective. Without even realizing, you begin to change during the day when a problem arises. A part of your mind, the part you've been training at night quietly notes, this is something I can release later. It automatically starts to scan for the one okay thing to anchor to. It begins to trust that peace is always an option because you have proven it to yourself. Night after night, you are building a reservoir of calm inside yourself. Most people have a reservoir of stress. When a new stressor comes along, it tops up their reservoir and they overflow with anxiety. But when you have a reservoir of calm, when a stressor comes along, it drops into this vast pool of peace and it doesn't even make a ripple. You stop being so reactive, you become resilient. This practice becomes an unshakable ritual, a personal ritual that belongs only to you. It cannot be taken from you. You could be in a hospital room, in a strange hotel, in a foreign country, in the middle of a personal crisis, and you still have this. You still have this 1 minute where you are the absolute authority of your inner state. You can close your eyes and follow the 3 steps. Gratitude. I'm grateful for this breath release. I set down today's fear protection. I'm held in peace. In that minute you are free, you are powerful. You are safe. This is the tool you carry with you for the rest of your life. It costs nothing. It requires no equipment. It takes almost no time, but its compound effect is a fortune of inner peace. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what the day brings, you have a way to end it well. You have a way to reclaim yourself. You are not just hoping for peace. You are actively, consciously, and consistently compounding it. Interest upon interest, night after night, until peace becomes the very currency of your soul. So tonight, before you close your eyes, don't just disappear into sleep. Make the choice. Take that 1 minute. Thank something. Release everything and protect your peace. It is the simplest, most powerful gift you can give to yourself. If this made you think about your own nightly routine, maybe it's time to try something every single night. You are given an opportunity that is far greater than you often realize. Sleep is not just rest, it is a reset. It is the one space in your day where you can step away from the noise, the demands, and the constant pull of the world. But here's the truth, how you step into sleep matters. If you close your eyes carrying the weight of resentment, stress, and unfinished thoughts, you drag that heaviness into your subconscious and it stays with you. On the other hand, if you choose even for just 1 minute to release, to give thanks, and to guard your peace, then night after night, that choice compounds like interest. It builds quietly but powerfully until peace becomes the very currency of your soul. Think of it like this. Most of the world pays attention to how they start their day, but very few consider how they end it. We rush into bed, phone in hand, mind racing with tomorrow's to-do list or today's regrets, expecting sleep to magically erase it all. But peace doesn't come by accident. It comes by intention, and intention doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as small as pausing before bed, taking a deep breath and saying, "Oh, thank you. Thank you for the lessons of today, for the breath in my lungs, for the chance to try again tomorrow." That one act of gratitude rewires your perspective. It tells your mind and body, we are safe, we are cared for, we are enough. Then just as importantly, let go. Release the mistakes you made, the words you wish you could take back, the weight of what others think. You cannot carry those things into tomorrow without them slowing you down. Sleep is your opportunity to set them down and protect the most valuable resource you have, your peace. When you protect your peace, you protect your energy, your creativity, your health, and ultimately, your future. Imagine doing this every night. Not once, not when life feels overwhelming, but consistently. The power of this practice doesn't show up in one evening, it builds. Night after night, your soul begins to rest differently. Your mornings begin to feel lighter. Your days begin to open with clarity instead of chaos. You start noticing that instead of reacting with stress, you respond with calm. Instead of chasing validation, you cultivate balance. And it all started with one single intentional minute before closing your eyes. So tonight, before you drift into sleep, don't just disappear into the dark. Make the choice. Thank something. Release everything. Protect your peace. Let it compound over time until peace becomes the strongest currency you hold. You deserve that. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to try something new with your nightly routine, something so small. It feels almost too simple, yet powerful enough to change your life. Because peace isn't something you wait for. It's something you practice. And tonight it starts with you.